shells.
I know. Always clean up your stuff at the beach. Just putting that out there. Drives me nuts when people leave Band-Aids and like all kinds of gross stuff.
You know, this looks like it could be Florida, but no, it's Ocean City, Maryland.
It does, but look at on the right-hand side. Do you see what is that? It almost looks like a palm tree, which
right,
you know, it can't be Florida. A palm tree in Ocean City, but
you can plant a palm tree anywhere.
You could, but it may not survive. Exactly. But it really is telling of the winds that we're still seeing. Still a wind advisory in effect for Ocean City. We'll watch for better conditions later tonight.
Pete.
Come on, man.
What? We said pantyhose, right? Here, eat this. Creamy Snickers. You could use a little smoothness.
Pete? Pete Zacharine?
Get smooth with the fresh ground nut butters and creamy Snickers.
I don't believe it. You're eating Lay's again, aren't you?
I'm not. This is your spare mouth, so you're eating Lay's. See? It's yours. It's your mouth.
Lay's. Make life flavorful.
With Domino's new delivery insurance, if your delivery isn't what you expected, we'll make it right. It could be a missing dipping sauce or a wrong topping. We want to make up for that mistake. Thank you. Get 2 medium, 2-topping pizzas delivered for $5.99 each and put our delivery insurance to the test.
This is a legal alert for users of Roundup Weed Killer. If you or a loved one used Roundup Weed Killer and have been diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, you may be entitled to compensation. In an August 9th, 2019 Bloomberg News story, it's reported that Bayer AG is proposing to pay as much as $8 billion to settle more than 18,000 lawsuits alleging its Roundup Weed Killer was responsible for the plaintiff's non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. This news follows 3 landmark verdicts, the most recent in May of 2019 for $2 billion, and one in March 2019 for $80 million, and another in August 2018 for $289 million. If you or someone you love has been diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma after being exposed to Roundup or a glyphosate herbicide, you may be entitled to compensation. How do you fight for the compensation you deserve? You choose the right legal team that has the experience and resources to seek the most compensation for your injuries. Strict deadlines may apply, so call for a free case review today.
William Shatner here. You know, I've been using a CPAP for over 10 years, and it's made a world of difference to me. But no one ever told me how important it is to keep my CPAP clean. I had no idea that it's a breeding ground for bacteria. A dirty CPAP can make you sick. That's when a friend said, Bill, you need to try SoClean. It's so easy. All you do is place your mask in, close the lid, and walk away.
SoClean kills up to 99.9% of all CPAP germs and bacteria that can build up in your mask, hose, and reservoir. SoClean works on all popular CPAP machines and masks.
I get a healthy sleep every night thanks to SoClean.
Try SoClean risk-free for 30 nights. Shipping is free, and when you call now, get $50 off. Call 1-800-349-2130. To take advantage of this 30-night risk-free trial and get $50 off, call 1-800-349-2130.
This is Mia. This is what Medicare from Blue Cross Blue Shield does for Mia's Pulse. And with over 80 years of healthcare expertise, imagine what we can do for you. This is the benefit of Blue.
It's like I'm waking up, yeah. That blue is in the sky.
Book now and enjoy free airfare, free open bar, and more. Norwegian Cruise Line. Feel free.
There's something out there for you and me. And the American road is calling. So what's it gonna be? Hey, it's an amazing day. Traveling our own highway. No matter where it leads us, we can smile. 'Cause it's leaning in.
Right now on Weather Center Live, I'm meteorologist Chris Warren, taking a look at some of the big stories that we are tracking and following today, and will be tracking and following right into the weekend in some cases. A big storm developed and really hammered parts of the Northeast through the overnight hours and through much of today. In fact, it's still ongoing right now with a lot of delays at the airports here. You can see it swirling now over New Hampshire and Maine with the lingering delays, more than 4-hour delays there at JFK, Boston up there, LaGuardia, you're almost up to 3 hours and getting close to an hour and a half at Newark. And then there's this big area that we've been watching, the National Hurricane Center has been watching, and the hurricane hunters are flying right now, trying to figure out exactly what's going on. Fortunately for all of us here, we have storm specialist Mark Elliott do the heavy lifting when it comes to figuring out what's going on with this thing. And this weighs like an elephant, Mark, as far as doing the heavy lifting with this and trying to figure out what's going to happen next.
Yeah, you know, it's a lot easier to forecast a well-formed storm system, of which this is pretty much the opposite.
Right.
This one's got so many outside players tugging at our storm that it's really having a hard time organizing right now. And that means good news in that no one area is set to have extreme conditions, and bad news that it often means more of you get more of the impacts in some form. So it won't be concentrated in any one area, but it spreads out over a much larger terrain. Right now, as of the latest advisory, 1 o'clock Central Time, we're waiting on the next, the 5 o'clock Eastern Time advisory will come out as well within, about 10 to 30 minutes from now. So keep it tuned here to see if there's any changes. But right now, there's a disorganized swirl that's providing some thunderstorm activity. It's having a real hard time getting organized, that is for sure. You can see that we've got some of that wind circulation, but it doesn't quite have a closed low, and there's not a lot of thunderstorm activity right underneath that. All of that action's getting blown on off towards the north and east, and that trend will continue. No matter how organized it gets, whatever's there is moving in this direction, so the cone is pretty well put in place at this point. 50-mile-per-hour top winds in the forecast, which is why we've got these watches and warnings that are up from Louisiana to the Big Bend of Florida. Rain is going to be a big part of this story, as we're talking about the chance for localized flooding, even with the amount of rain that we're going to see. And if the rainfall wasn't enough, and the onshore flow could give us a water rise of maybe 3 to 5 feet, Jackie, and combine that with heavy rain trying to move back towards the coast, and into the Gulf, it actually bottles up, and that could add to some of the flooding in some of the smaller creeks.
Yeah, we did have some coastal flooding, kind of different in the Northeast. That's been one of the issues that we've been dealing with there. We've also been dealing with the strong winds that has led to a number of power outages. We're now up over 500,000, so that's 500,000 people without power from Maine to Massachusetts, Connecticut, Pennsylvania, and Rhode Island. Of course, Maine the worst right now with almost 200,000 people without power. So it's a complex situation because our winds have been strong, but they've been consistently strong all day long, and so it makes it difficult for crews to get up and fix those power lines because it's just not safe for them to get up in those buckets and do that. Check it out, 90-mile-per-hour winds in Provincetown, Massachusetts, Duxbury at 80 miles per hour, 70 at Boston Logan, and 70 at Bar Harbor, which is the strongest gust that they've ever recorded at that observing site. So kind of interesting. So definitely an intense bomb cyclone, as we call it, because the pressure drops so quickly in 24 hours. And it remains really intense right now, but notice how that moisture is really elongated and spread out as the whole system's kind of occluded now, and that drier air is pushing into northern parts of New England. So no rain anymore in places like Maine, but that moisture wrapping around on the back side of it. And with elevation, temperatures are cold enough that we've been getting a little bit of snow in some of these locations. Here's a look at current conditions into the Northeast. We've got gusts 33 miles per hour at LaGuardia, Windsor Locks 30 miles per hour, and check out Hyannis out there off the Cape into the elbow there, 43 miles per hour. So those winds are still strong enough to not only be a nuisance, but be disruptive to your travel to go along with that. So we do have wind advisories and still a small sliver of the high wind warnings that remain in effect. This includes you in places like New York City, Philadelphia, Boston, Hartford, as well as into Providence. These will go away later on this evening.
If you live with diabetes, why fingerstick when you can scan? With the Freestyle Libre 14-day system, just scan the sensor with your reader, iPhone, or Android and manage your diabetes. With the Freestyle Libre 14-day system, a continuous glucose monitor, you can check your glucose levels anytime without fingersticks. Ask your doctor to write a prescription for the Freestyle Libre 14-day system. You can do it without fingersticks. Learn more at freestylelibre.us.
At Dish, we took our voice remote and added the Google Assistant. Why? Because sometimes you need to control the temperature, the lights, and the TV.
Dish, tuned in to you.
Do you have concerns about mild memory loss related to aging? Prevagen is the #1 pharmacist-recommended memory support brand. You can find it in the vitamin aisle in stores everywhere. Prevagen, healthier brain, better life.
Is it too early to start celebrating Halloween? Well, if you're celebrating by eating Reese's, then no. You're actually late. Not sorry, Reese's.
Have you or a loved one had hernia mesh implanted specifically for hernia repair and had serious complications, including infection, wound reopening, chronic pain, bowel obstruction, or had revision or repair surgery? You may have been a victim of a product that was defectively designed, and you may be entitled to compensation. Hernia repair surgeries are one of the most common surgeries performed in the United States, with over 500,000 surgical procedures annually. Recent studies have found higher rates of hernias reopening when hernia mesh has been implanted. If you or a loved one had hernia mesh implanted specifically for hernia repair and have experienced serious complications, including infection, wound reopening, chronic pain, bowel obstruction, or you later required revision or repair surgery, you may be entitled to compensation. How do you protect your rights and fight for the compensation you deserve?